Well, pardon me. Checking 1, 2, 3, checking all my levels. Okay, we're all good. And we're all good. All right. Sorry, I'm going to go back and forth because I actually have 3 cameras going here because I want to make sure we get to everybody that we possibly can. Live from the Capitol. Hello, Representative Bill Post. As always on Fridays, I kind of like to come to you live from the Capitol and chat with you and hear from you and talk to you. So when I look over here, I am looking at my Facebook page. When I look here, I'm looking at Periscope. When I look here, I'm looking at YouTube. We're the full Monty here, okay? And you know what I'm saying? All right. So have your questions ready. I'll try to get to them as best I can, but I have 3 different things asking me questions. So forgive me if I don't get to them all, but I'll try to get to as many as I can. Let me just start with, first of all, kind of giving you a State of the Union address on what I think is going on right now. Let me back up by saying this. We've had some pretty contentious times on the House floor, and I'm sure the Senate has been somewhat the same, although I don't always know what's going on in the Senate. But we've had some interesting things happen on the House. I think there are 2 bills this week that just caught my attention that were fascinating, and that is chlorpyrifos, which is a pesticide, which farmers use, but specifically Christmas tree farmers use them. It is really the only pesticide that Christmas tree farms can use on the trees. Now, there's a lot of controversy about this particular pesticide, but I don't think government should ban something like this. And so I voted no on the bill and spoke as vigorously as I could about it on the House floor this week. But it passed. And so I bring it up because just half an hour ago or so, I went down to the Senate Environmental Committee and I gave testimony, not my words, but I read the words of Farmer Marie Bowers, my good friend Farmer Marie from Harrisburg. And she wrote a letter for me to read into the record of why she is against the ban on chlorpyrifos. And there's you know what, if you are professional and you're applying it properly with the applicator process properly, and you're licensed and you're certified and you're doing everything right, then we're fine. You know, we have far more important things to be taken care of. So that's where I'm at on that. So that was controversial. Another controversial bill that came up on the House floor, it was today, as a matter of fact, was the lodging tax, it's called. Now, it's been in place since, I believe, 2003. But in 2016, when I was here in the legislature, the legislature passed a bill to move that lodging tax from 1.5% to 1.8%, but it had a sunset of July of 2020. So it would have been this year that it would have stopped and would have gone back to 1.5%. Well, somebody proposed that, no, we need to take the sunset off and leave it at 1.8%. I voted no on that downstairs on the floor, and I explained why. First of all, this will blow your mind if you didn't watch the debate. This ought to really blow your mind. The CEO of Travel Oregon, which is the state agency that runs Travel Oregon Lodging, gets paid. His total compensation package is over $400,000. Over. Excuse me. It's closer to $500,000. Now that's his total compensation package. That's not his pay, but when you take away, when you put in all the, health insurance and vacation and yada, 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 all that stuff. So it's close to $500,000. And I pointed out earlier today, that's more than the president of the United States makes, a state agency head. And when the Secretary of State audited the agency, they found that the money was not quite being used the way it should be. And as I pointed out, even though it was made into law back in 2003, I'm disappointed that as many as 110 municipalities, cities, towns, that large chunks of that money that's being collected from people visiting Oregon and paying to stay in a hotel or restaurant or whatever, that much of that money is going to the general fund of these towns, not promoting coming to Oregon. It's not running ads saying, "Hey, come to Oregon." So I had a hard time with that. So here's the thing. So what's the worst that would have happened if the bill had died and it needed a three-fifths majority, 36 votes in the House, because it's a tax vote. For it to pass, it needed 36 votes. To me, if it hadn't passed, what's the worst that would happen? It would go back to 1.5%. What, Oregon's going to fall into the ocean because it didn't get 0.3% of a tax? Nah, we didn't need it. So anyway, that was kind of interesting today because it came really close to not passing. It almost didn't have the 36. So that would have been fascinating. Okay, so I really want to spend more time answering your questions. So I hope you'll jump on here and ask questions. Again, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Periscope, and I'm on Facebook, and I'd love to answer your questions. What are your thoughts on cap and trade? Let me give you a quick synopsis of what I think is going to happen with cap and trade. You probably know there's a Senate, well, there's 4 bills, but let me just narrow it down a little bit. There's Senate Bill 1530 that's coming from the Senate, but right now it's in the full Ways and Means Committee. There's House Bill 4167, which is the same exact bill basically, and it's going to the full Ways and Means Committee. Now, we think all of this is going to happen on Monday, and once it goes out of the full Ways and Means Committee, it goes to the respective floors for second reading, which is, okay, this first reading when the bill is first initiated, then second reading, and then generally the next day is the third reading, which is when the members of the floor, House or Senate, vote on it. So timing-wise, that means both of those may come to their respective floors on Tuesday, but there are some procedural maneuvers that can be done where they could come on Monday. I don't think so, but I just can't guarantee you anything because I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how this is going to work. The majority party can do some things that, I'm just going to say they can do some things, okay? So watch out. Watch out. One other item that is of some controversy is House Bill 4005, which is the safe, secure gun lock bill. It is maybe, even as we speak right now, it may be what time is it? It's 4:23. So sometime in the next hour and a half, it's going to be in the Senate or the House Rules Committee. Now, it can go from rules straight to the House floor. So that one is one you want to keep an eye on. They've been shifting that thing all day long. It's been in Rules Committee and then canceled and then back and then canceled. And apparently, as of last I saw on OLIS, it is up for sometime later this evening, 5:30-ish or so. So be prepared for that. One of the things that is frustrating about the short session is that particular thing, the timing. There's just no time. There's no time. So watch out for that. That's all I can say. Well, somebody wants to know what's happening with Kratom. So my Kratom bill is scheduled to be second read on Monday in the Senate. It already passed the House, 59-0. It's going to the Senate. It passed out of the Senate committee. It's going to the Senate. It should be there by Tuesday, I would hope. Okay, so that is if there is a Senate by Tuesday, my Kratom bill will go there. My Kratom bill was slightly amended in that we're not going to do any regulating right now. What we're going to do is have the OLCC, the OHA, and the ODA, Department of Agriculture, get together with the Kratom industry and the governor's office and some people, I'll be involved, and determine who is going to regulate and certify that Kratom is real Kratom, not some stuff made up out of who knows what garbage. But we are stopping the sale to anyone under 21. Now, that doesn't mean you, mom and dad, can't buy kratom for your son or daughter. That's your choice as a parent. It's not illegal for you to purchase it, take it home, and administer it to your children or teenagers. But we don't want teenagers, kids, going and buying it, because kids choose to do things that aren't always wise. Adults too, but kids choose to mix it with other things, and it has some problems. So that's the update on that. Okay, Dakota. Bill, what's the chances of a Senate walkout? Well, two-part question. Okay, so what's the chances of a Senate walkout? If cap and trade comes to the Senate floor, I can almost guarantee you they'll walk out. If cap and trade comes to the House floor, I can almost guarantee you that we will. I don't even call it a walkout. I don't even, I even like calling it a walkout. Deny quorum. And I don't know if you saw this week, but so far, I believe we're up to 26 counties out of 36 in Oregon so far, and there may be more that will be coming. 26 out of 36 counties so far have said no as a county to any cap and trade bill. Okay, so, and the second part of your question, the mayor of Salem is trying to get funding for the homeless problem and is possibly not going to happen because of the possibility of a walkout. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, my bills are going to be dead if there's a walkout. Cap and trade is too big, way bigger. There'll be no money left for Oregon if cap and trade passes. Let me see what other questions we have here. The short session needs to go bye-bye. Yeah, let me just remind you, and some people don't like to see this or hear this, and generally more people from my side of the aisle. The short session, I have spent a lot of time analyzing back in 2010 when the Oregon legislature passed a bill, and I can't remember the bill number off the top of my head, but they passed a bill that became the ballot measure 71 in 2010 that gave us annual sessions. That ballot measure did not say short sessions to do X and Y, long sessions to do X and Y. It said, do you want annual sessions, yes or no? And Oregonians passed it like 62%. So, and I've looked carefully at all of the testimony and the video and everything, and nobody on the record said anything about what the short session would entail. But what was underlying and what everybody sort of understood was that because of 35 days and hours in a day and all that, that it would be pretty much impossible to do major policy in a short session. But I have to tell you, that was not what the voter. When people tell me the voters said you shouldn't be doing this stuff, no, that's not true. That's not true. I know. I researched it and I voted on it and I said no back then. I just knew that annual sessions was a bad thing to begin with. But the voters passed it by 62%, and they didn't have a qualification. It just said, do you want annual sessions, yes or no? And it defined it by days. So yes, it needs to go. I believe it needs to go. And I know that there is, I understand there is now a citizen petition, initiative petition to get rid of it. If you can find out how to sign up for that, do it. As soon as I get the information, I'll tell you. Okay. Let's see. Walk on the gun bills. Yeah, I'd be all for that. Okay, questions. Anybody have questions? Hi, Tammy. She's over on YouTube. Hi, Tammy. I have to press a button to find out who's talking on there. Nope, nobody said anything there. On Facebook, throw out your questions. If you're on Facebook with me right now, do you have any questions about what's going on with the session? YouTube, Periscope, if you're on there, if you're on Twitter right now. A lot of people saying hi, and I appreciate that. Hello. But, you've got me captured audience right here. You got me on camera in a captured audience where everybody can see what you're typing. So if you have any questions, ask me the questions, because that's what this is all about. I'm not going to sit here all night if people don't ask questions. Speaking of, what a glorious day outside. What gets me about a lot of this cap and trade business is, I think I told this story before, but my wife and I drove down through California and Nevada back in January. And California's had cap and trade for years. And we decided to take old Highway 99 instead of I-5. So we went from Sacramento down to Bakersfield. And as we were driving south, there was an orange haze over the sky. And it was a clear sky, but except for this orange haze. In other words, it wasn't cloudy, rainy. It was this orange haze. And it smelled terrible. It just, ugh, it's gross. And I said to my wife, is that what Oregon's going to look like if we do cap and trade? Apparently it's not working. So, you know what? I'm looking out right now at the sky. I'm looking right out that window right there. And I see a beautiful blue sky with a few cumulonimbus. You know, I took a weather class in college once and got 2 credits for it. There's some clouds out there, but I don't see any orange haze. I don't see any yuck in the sky. And when I drink the water that comes out of my tap, it's clean, it's wonderful. Oregon is as clean and green as any place on God's green earth. And, you know, I think we're doing a great job. I think we as Oregonians we do a great job of taking care of our state. Do we need to handicap our economy to make it cleaner? I don't know that we can make it cleaner. And we're certainly not going to change the world. Holy cow, really? You really think we're going to change the world? So why don't we just say what we really mean? Why doesn't the left and all these Renew Oregon and clean energy jobs people, why don't they say the truth? You want to do something that's called transfer of wealth. You want to take the wealth from this person and give it to that person. Why don't we just call it what it is? Why don't we just be honest? Because there's no dirty air out there. There's no dirty water. There's no dirty creeks and rivers, no dirty ocean. Come on. Yeah, there is in India and Pakistan and China, but not in Oregon. And Oregon's imperceptible impact on global climate change, it's 0.14%, if that. Really? We're going to change the entire economy of Oregon for that? What are we going to put a magic bubble over Oregon and say, well, we did our part and we kept Oregon clean? We'll put a bubble over the state and that'll keep all the bad air out. Are you out of your mind? Come on, just use common sense. What happened with common sense? Well, that's because it's not about the economy or the environment. It's not about clean air and clean water and clean jobs and clean. It's about transfer of wealth. Okay, sorry. This is what happens when you don't ask questions. You get too much talk. Is there going to be another recall for Brown? I don't know. Don't know anything about that. Let's see. What's going on with the governor's wildfire bill that allowed changes to land use? Ooh, Susan, that's a great question. And I don't know the answer because I'll tell you what, things are going so fast and furious in here. I don't know, unless it's my bill or one that I'm voting on in my committee. I can't keep up with it. What are the new changes you think maybe with the gun bill? I heard they did a last minute change. I don't know. Go look on OLIS. If you don't know how to look on OLIS, go to my YouTube channel and use my video on how to navigate OLIS. Yes, there will be another one after the short session. I don't know what you're talking about, Chantel. Will we gain any ground in this 35 days? I don't know. Good question. Good question. Can OSP actually drag you back to the Capitol if you leave? The answer is maybe. Maybe. We were told specifically that if I was going to be dragged from my home, they would call me first and see if I was there. And if I didn't answer the phone, well, I'm not there. Yes, California is a hole. I mean, there's nice places in California. Don't get me wrong. There's some nice places in California. If it weren't California, I'd live in California. Let's see. Will House have actual votes to pass cap and trade with assumption of 21 Republicans against and 2 that I know of Dems who are also strongly against? Yeah, if it were to come to the House, it will pass. Friends from California came up for the rally and commented on how clean Oregon is. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Margaret, good question from one of my constituents. Will the French Prairie McKay Road get more police patrols if it's deemed a safety corridor? Yes. And signage and lights and rumble strips and a lot of other things. So yes. I cannot wait until the safety corridor is put into place out on Death Road, Highway 219, McKay, French Prairie, Ellen, all those roads out there. Somebody on YouTube says, can the bubble keep the demo? I get it now. The magic bubble over Oregon that will keep all pollution and carbon out of Oregon, will it keep the Democrats out? No, I think it seals them in. Sorry. You know, it's something that when I was doing my talk show, I had zero relationships with Democrats. I mean, maybe I had some and I didn't know they were Democrats. But here in this building, there are some Democrats that I work with that, they've become pretty good friends. We still go like this, boom, when it comes to our politics and our policies. But people are people are people. You know what? And God created every single one of us in His image, and that means every one of us is beautiful, and every one of us is literally created in the image of God. And so I love every single person here. Do I get along with them, agree with them all the time? No. But they're still human beings made in God's image. And I've built some good relationships here in this building in the last 5 years. I just wish there would be a little bit of what used to happen here years ago of, you know what, I'm not going to be on the far right, I'm not going to be on the far left. I'm going to be here and do what's right for Oregon. That gets a little frustrating. And I've even heard that from my colleagues on the other side. Okay, Chris asks again, hi, heard they changed a lot of the stuff of the gun bill just recently. Do you know anything about that? No, Chris, I'm sitting here. I'm sorry. You have to go on OLIS and go look it up for yourself. I can't look it up while I'm doing this right here. So I'm sorry. No offense. I can't. I don't know. Nicole, she just passed by the Capitol waving hi. Hello, Nicole. Margaret, great news on the safety corridor. Okay. Anybody on YouTube have any questions? It happens too fast on Periscope. It goes right by. I'm here in the Capitol. I'm ready to answer your questions. Read your comments, whatever it might be. Yeah, Chris, again, no offense. If you don't know how to navigate OLIS, please utilize my YouTube video, How to Use OLIS, Oregon Legislative Information System. I have 2 videos right now on my YouTube page that are how-tos. One is how to use ORSTAR so that you can see who's filed for what offices, and you can see how much money they raise and how much they spend. So I show you all how to do that. And it's really important because one of the things that I've heard lately is a rumor, and it's coming out of a particular camp in Oregon, that Republicans aren't finding people to run in every seat. Wrong. You need to go look on ORSTAR and look it up for yourself. Don't listen to people. You know what? Don't even listen to me if you don't want to. Don't listen to people because they said, well, I heard on Facebook that some guy said. Come on. Learn for yourself. That's why I made the videos, how to use ORSTAR and how to use OLIS. The next video I'm going to do, probably sometime this weekend, is how to register to vote online and how to make sure your registration is valid online. So in other words, are you a Republican, a Democrat, an NAB, an independent, whatever it might be, how to check on My Vote at the Secretary of State site, how to find out how you're registered and how to get registered. I'm going to do a video on that, so look for that, okay? But don't just go with this. I read on Facebook from Bob that this is true or that's true. Go look for yourself, for crying out loud. Just Google is your friend. Oh, I know there's some people on the right. Oh, Google is the enemy. They're reading everything that I do. Whatever. You know what? When you bought your phone, you gave away all your privacy privileges right there. But anyway, I like to use Google, and I literally will, that's how I search Google. I say, how do I find out how I'm going to vote? I mean, it's all right there. And then just read the stories and put it together. Okay, sorry, lecturing again. Thanks, Abby. Governor Brown's wildfire bill has not moved out as of yet. The gun bill will most likely adopt amendments tonight that basically says a locked home is a safe storage. Okay, well, I'd still be a no on that anyway. Let's see. Steph says, it is hard to have a good working relationship with some of the, is it hard to have a good working relationship with some of the Dems when they are pushing such wild bills when they won't listen? Yeah, that's what I mean. It is. You know, a really nice person that you meet and you think, gosh, and you have coffee in the morning with them and they seem so reasonable, and then no. So yeah, that does get hard. It really does. But I try to remember that they're human beings and they're trying to do what's right in their minds. I just don't always agree with them. Are there any bills flying under the radar that we should be aware of and reading up on? Boy, that's a great question, Pat Sherman. That's why you should probably know OLIS. If you do nothing more on OLIS than go to each day the House and the Senate and go to third readings, or even better, go to second or first readings, and that'll tell you what's coming up in the House or the Senate soon. Always go there and then click on those bills and read those bills. That's a good idea. Let's see. Terry says, is there a commitment to walk out from the Republican senators? I don't know. I'm not a senator. I'm in the House. I think there's a commitment from all Republicans in this building that we will not let cap and trade pass. Grace, just walked my newly 16-year-old through registering to vote. So important. Yeah, and that's a great point. If you have a 16, 17-year-old in your house, they can register to vote. They can't vote. Be very clear on that, because I've heard people on Facebook say, I heard 16-year-olds can vote. They cannot vote. They can register to vote. Still can't vote to their 18th birthday. But yes, get them involved now. Leslie says, I know all bills are alive until sine die, but rough estimate, how many bills are still currently moving forward? That'll be easier to answer after tonight, because tonight bills have to be sent to the other chamber for a work session. They have to be scheduled for a work session in the opposite chamber. So I'll have that number later tonight, probably. Let's see. I think there needs to be some kind of regulation on LED headlights. They are so bright coming at me, I can hardly drive at night. How about you? Well, Bill, I have to tell you, I have those LED headlights on my car, and I really like them. I know I don't like them coming into my vision, but I really like them for seeing. So I'd be the last guy that would probably regulate that. Let's see. Karen, thank you so much for you're welcome. Thank you. Leslie, the daily schedule on OLIS is a helpful place. I like to start each day during session. Yeah, that's why I gave you that how to use OLIS and how to use ORSTAR. If you're going to geek out, why not geek out all the way? Use those tools. They're very, very, very helpful. Find out what's going on OLIS and find out who's spending the money where and who's bringing in money and who's registering to vote, registering for office. I'll teach you how to register to vote if you don't know already by doing my video on my vote in just a little while. Is there a way to remove the emergency clause from the bills? Okay, that's a great question. So Representative Gary Leaf, Representative Mike Neerman, and I are co-chief petitioners on a ballot measure to to make it a lot harder to do the emergency clause. There really are reasons for the emergency clause at times. I'm going to give you, for instance, my bill, HB 4014. It's a land use bill. There were two farmers in Multnomah County where a line was drawn here in 18 whatever, but a judge moved the line over their boundary line, their property boundary line. And because of that, I'm making a long story short, but we heard testimony from the farmers who said, if this bill doesn't pass and fix this boundary line thing, I will lose my farm. And I'm losing $2,500 a month, whatever the heck it was. I myself on my own bill put the emergency clause on it because that is truly an emergency. They're going to lose their farm by March 10th. So we needed the emergency clause. Now, people say, but then I don't get to vote on it. Do you really want to, do you want me to wait and put a ballot measure out that says, will you vote on Farmer Bob and Farmer John's boundary line next November? There's some things that you don't want to vote on because you don't care. Where the emergency clause is abused is on the big things like cap and trade, gun bills, the big, huge policy things that, yes, Oregonians should have a say in. But these little tiny bills that we do here in the legislature that are fixing the line and doing this and crossing the T and dotting an I, you know what? It doesn't matter. You don't want to vote on those things. That's why you elect people to represent you. That's why we're called a republic. That's a good question, though. If you state you will not let cap and trade pass, why wouldn't HB 4167 get stopped in the House? Deny quorum? How? Well, I can't give away all of our plans. First of all, I'm not in leadership, but let's just say we're not going to let it go. Okay. Is that enough for you? I did look on ORSTAR as of yesterday, 4 Senate seats with no Republicans and 2 House seats with no one, 16. Yeah, Jody, here's the deal. Can I let you in on something? If you also look at those seats, you'll see there are seats where there is no Democrat running against the Republican. There are seats in Oregon that we're not going to find a candidate for because it's 78% Democrat registration. There are seats that Democrats aren't going to run in because they're 89% Republican. We're not going to run somebody in every single seat. I mean, I always say, if you think somebody should, why aren't you? Step up, run. So, we're not going to cover every single seat because there's some that are just absolutely out there, impossible for both Democrats and Republicans. It goes both ways. And by the way, we have until March 10th. March 10th is the filing deadline. So I don't panic. Margaret, I love your voice for the random online person that doesn't quite understand what's going on. Thanks. Candidates have until March 10th. Absolutely, Leslie, right on. My aunt believes that there are rebates included in the cap and trade bill that indicates bipartisanship. Are the rebates still in the bill, and how would you respond to my very liberal family member? That's a great question. I don't know. Can I be really honest with you? I have not sat down and read the whole cap and trade bill. Here's why. Because this is how I function. I serve in a committee. I'm going to use one, for instance, ag and land use. I read the bills that are coming to ag and land use fully. I know everything about them. Then I vote on them. And then I'm done. Then I read all the ones that come to my veterans committee. I vote on them and I'm done. I read all the bills that come to my joint ways and means committee, and then I move on. Then when the bills come to the House floor and they're second read, then I read them. If I start reading, there were 265, 70 bills. If I were to read all of those bills, knowing that half of them or more will die, why would I do that? Now, cap and trade, you say, well, Bill, but that might happen. I don't take the time to read bills that don't come to my committee or I'm not voting on the House floor. Now, if that bill comes to the House floor, and in fact, we are here, I will fully read that bill. I've read some summaries and a few things about it, but I don't really know everything about the bill. What I do is I trust those people in my caucus who are on the bill as far as they're in the committees and they're in the hearings every day and they're listening and reading everything. I trust them to give me the information. That's how we work, because otherwise it's impossible to keep up with everything. Adam, just joining in, Bill, since we're close to the PCP filing deadline, could you talk about what being a PCP is all about? Oh, that's a great question. Precinct committee person, whether you're a Republican or Democrat watching right now, becoming a precinct committee person for your party it's the most important elected position in Oregon that nobody seems to know about or care about. You are responsible for some very important things. For one thing, if you're a precinct committee person, I'm going to use my district, Kaiser. So you're a precinct committee person in Kaiser, then you would be out hopefully knocking on doors and making phone calls and checking off lists for the candidates in your precinct, which is basically your neighborhood. The other thing that you get to do is, as a PCP, which is one of the coolest things, let's say tomorrow I, for health reasons or whatever, had to step down. They have to appoint my successor. Because I'm a Republican, they have to appoint a Republican. The PCPs from Marion and Yamhill County choose 3 to 5 nominees, and then those 3 to 5 nominees go to the county commissioners, and the county commissioners choose my replacement to fill out my term. Well, if you're not a PCP, you're not involved in that. That's not everybody gets to vote on. Only PCPs get to vote on that. So that's why it's really a cool privilege. So you have until March 10th to fill out your SEL 105. It's a form that you fill out to become a precinct committee person. You get on the ballot, just like I'm on the ballot as a PCP. You get on the ballot, and if you get 3 people to vote for you, you get you, your wife, or your husband, or your next door neighbor, and Bob down the street to vote for you, you're a PCP. You're an elected official. Pretty cool, huh? Thanks, Adam, for reminding me of that. Hey, Dewana, how are you? Thanks. Thank you. Megan, good to hear from you. Let's see, anybody over here? No? Okay. Well, I've been going for half an hour, a little over half an hour, 34 minutes. Holy cow. Time flies when you're having fun. Can I just say Mountain Dew for the win? I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Any more questions? Hope I'm answering those okay. Trying to keep up with all of them. So, all right. I'll leave a little time for a couple more questions. And if we have no more questions, then I'll shut this thing down. And you can always watch the replay. Again, if you're on YouTube, you can watch the replay there. If you're on Periscope, I don't know how that works. I just thought I'd try it. Facebook Live, there'll be a video up for you to watch later. Let me see what else is going on around here. Well, as always, let me just remind you of my how to get a hold of me. Obviously, I'm always on Facebook. So you found me on my Facebook page, and I'm on Twitter. And my state email is rep dot billpost, one word, billpost at OregonLegislature.gov. Rep.billpost at OregonLegislature.gov. And that's how you can get a hold of us here. Oh, hi, there's somebody on Periscope. Thanks for keeping us informed from what's going on. That's what I try to do. It's the old radio guy in me. Pat, you bet. Thank you for the answer. You bet. I don't mind doing that at all. Okay. If we don't have too many more questions, I know some people are just joining us, and if you are, I'm answering questions the best that I can and making a few comments. Let's see, what else do we have here? Leslie, my 9-year-old heard your live and asked, is that Post? He recognized your voice. I've only been involved about a year, and my kids and I have learned so much. Thanks for all your info and help. Well, thanks. Tell your kid hi. Post said hi. It's kind of scary. Brainwashing those kids already. Nobody ever asks me about radio anymore. You know, there's a whole lot of people like Leslie right there who probably had no idea that I was a radio guy. They only know me as Representative Bill Post, which is so weird. Even though I've been here 5 years, I still can't get used to that whole Representative Bill Post thing. I'm just used to being, hi, I'm your morning DJ, Bill Post, here to play my latest hit from Madonna, Michael Jackson, and the Jackson 5. I mean, I'm a DJ. I can't stop being one. It is what it is. All right. Any further questions? Everybody's happy? Okay. No. Brian Hodson just joined us. Brian Hodson running for House District 21. Good guy. All right. Now, once we're out of this session and I'm out there free again, free me from this prison. When I'm out of here and I'm out there, we can start talking about campaigns again and talking about who's running where and what. But for now, use my YouTube video, how to use ORSTAR, and go on there and it'll teach you how to find out who's filed for what seats. It's pretty cool. And we'll talk more about that after I get out of this joint, okay? I think because we hit almost 5 o'clock, we're hitting more people watching. Terry, Voice of the Volcanoes, former, retired. Yes, I was the Voice of the Volcanoes. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot about that. I used to be the PA guy out there. Bill the PA guy. So when you came to a Volcanoes game back in 2000, whenever it was, 2000 something, and you came into the ballpark, now batting, number 33, Pablo Sandoval. Okay, showing off a little bit. Shauna, hi, thank you. Dominica, how are you? Tammy, how you doing? Ben, how you doing? Let me see, what else is going on that I can think of? Gosh, I've talked about a lot of stuff, answered quite a few questions and comments. Oh, on YouTube, somebody, Colt says, when will this session end? Not soon enough. I don't know. Constitutionally, it has to end like March 8th. But it could come to a screeching halt soon. Stay tuned. Well, Carissa, yeah, I've talked already a little bit about it. I think it's absolutely. Chris asked, did you talk about a walkout possibility? Yeah, absolutely. But it's not called a walkout. It's called denying quorum. It's called changing the calendar. It's called standing for freedom and liberty and economic goodwill. Call it whatever you want. I don't care. But it's not a walkout. It's denying quorum. And don't forget, it's been done before by the other team, by the person who's in the big office in the middle of this building. Which, by the way, I have to tell you, very strange today. We were on the House floor voting on bills. And I went out into, if you've ever been to the Capitol, there's a huge marble hallway, not a hallway, like a lobby, right outside the House floor doors. And it's real echoey in there. And that's where all the lobbyists and we come out and constituents and they call us out to come talk to them. And I was out there talking to one of my lobby friends about something completely unrelated. And the governor made a beeline for me, straight for me, put her out her hand and said, "Thank you." And then she turned around and walked off. And as she was walking off, of course, I was in shock. She was walking off. I said, "For what?" And she didn't answer me. I don't know what I did. And the funny thing is I had just voted no on that lodging tax that I talked about earlier in this video. I don't know if she was thanking me for that or she was thanking me for voting against a tax. That's kind of different. Yeah, thank you, you and Shelly Bossart Davis for keeping us up to date on Cap and Trade on your Facebook page. Yeah, we're trying our best, boy. But remember I talked about how there are experts that I rely on for my information? Shelly Bossart Davis is one of those experts. Very smart, unlike me. Brian asks a good question. Can the Democrats extend the session? Yes and no. It has to end on March 8th, but then the governor can call special sessions at any time, at any place, any time. So I guess, yeah, sort of, kind of. Matthew, thank you. Keep up the good work. Appreciate that. Well, Denise, you know what? She won an election, so she's our governor. I mean, you know what? That's like the people who say, not my president for Donald Trump. Yeah, actually, he is your president. And yeah, actually, she is your governor. And she's my governor. I may not have voted for her, and I may not support her, but she is the governor. So I'm not going to go down the calling her all kinds of names business because that's worthless and it's a waste of my time. But because she won, okay? She won. What are you going to do? Okay. Yeah, why did that tax pass? Because 37 people voted for it. Hate to be honest. Let's see. My Governor Brown impression at the Oregon Grassroots United event was the best. I am not doing that today. No, I'm not doing that today. All right. All right, you guys are killing me. Any more questions? Because we're into our almost 45 minutes here. And I'm not getting paid by the hour here. I'm just telling you that. Well, once again, if you came in late, if you feel so inclined, you can go back and hit the replay button once this video is posted, whether it's on YouTube over here, Facebook over here, Periscope over here, which I don't really get this Periscope thing. I don't think anybody uses it anymore. There's never been more than 1 or 2 people on there. There's a whole lot of people over here on Facebook and quite a few people over here on YouTube. So, all right, let me just make sure there's no more questions. Thanks for joining me today, live from the Capitol. I try to do this every Friday. I'm not always good about it. I had a little thing went on last weekend where I wasn't here at the end of the day on Friday. Long weekend. Let's just leave it at that. Long weekend. But for those who have asked, and especially for those who have prayed for me, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm in great health. 100%. Feel fantastic. Feel great. The doctors and the nurses and the technicians and everybody at the Salem Health, I think it's called Salem Health now, but it'll always be the Salem Hospital to me. Look, I'm old enough to remember when there was Salem Memorial Hospital and Salem General Hospital. I told that to the doctor at the Salem Hospital, and she said, there was another hospital in Salem? I said, yeah, there was 3 of them. There was the Salem Memorial, Salem General, and the Salem State Hospital. What are you talking about? Anyway, I'm showing how old I am. But anyway, the staff at the Salem Hospital were fantastic. They take great care of me last weekend. I got a clean bill of health. Everything's good to go. I just probably need to spend a little less time at In-N-Out Burgers. They didn't tell me that. Common sense. Common sense. Not a whole lot of that in this building. Okay. I'm gonna shut her down if there's no more questions, because the traffic's already lining up out there in Court Street, and I want to get out of here. All right, I'm looking. YouTube, Facebook, Periscope. And if you have further questions, just leave comments on here. I'll get to them eventually. After we turn it off, you can still comment once the thing is there. No more Mountain Dews. What are you talking about? It's look, it's the little tiny. It's the 7.5 ounce. See, that's all, 7.5 ounce. What do you mean no more Mountain Dew? It's only 7.5 ounces. You've not seen me jacked up on Mountain Dew, my friend. When I did my radio show, I would drink 2 pots of coffee before I went on the air, and then I would drink a 32-ounce Mountain Dew while I was on the air. That's called jacked up on Mountain Dew. This 7.5 ounce. It's the first one I've had this week. No problem. Piece of cake. Yeah, not good for my blood pressure, but hey, you got to live a little. You know what I mean? You got to live. You can't just live like you're going to die. You got to live. Let's see what else here. Is that it? All right, I think that's it. It's diabetes in a can. What are you talking about? This is gold, liquid gold in a can. All right, we're getting stupid now. So more stupid. Okay. Thank you. Have a great weekend. We'll see what happens on Monday. I'm being dead honest. I don't know what's going to happen next. I really don't. So we'll see what happens. But as I said early in the video, if you didn't catch it, I have 2 videos on YouTube, how to use Orstar, how to use OLIS. I'm going to do a 3rd one on how to use My Vote. Find out what you're registered to vote as. Find out if Motor Voter changed your voter registration. Find out how to get registered. Find out how to register other people. How to encourage them to get registered. I'm going to do a video on that this weekend sometime. Have a few other family matters going on this weekend. I could use your prayers for this weekend for my family. There's some stuff going on that needs to be taken care of. Okay. Stacy, you bet. Thank you for your videos. So helpful. You bet. I hope they are. Always here to help. Always here to do whatever I can to help you. Appreciate you being with me today. We'll talk to you soon.